Ada kabar baru seputar TFT. Lihat dari IG-nya, tanggal 8 tuh udah rilis versi PBE-nya atau Public Beta Environment. Jadi itu server yang dimana bisa kita coba set 10-nya. Tapi itu bukan server yang asli ya, itu server percobaan aja beta gitu. Sebelum tanggal 22-nya rilis yang benar-benar gitu. Ini kalau kalian mau nyoba, ini tanggal 8 bisa nyoba di sini. Kalau kalian buka kliennya Riot di sini, League of Legends PBE. Di sini bisa dicoba. Kalau mau nyoba di luar set 10. Tapi kan nanti rilisnya tanggal 22 juga, itu sekalian versi mobile. Terus ya TFT juga ngerilis video baru. Sekalian kita tonton juga.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Whitrock, design lead for our newest set, which I'm excited to
Tiap
introduce
set
today.
tuh emang beda-beda orang
We're calling
yang
this set, drumroll
buat,
please,
jadi idenya
Remix
bisa beda-beda.
We've got a full playlist today, so I'll open with gameplay and then
Remix
pass it to the
Rumble,
rest of the
nama
lineup
set
to chat
10-nya.
music, cosmetics,
Kayaknya
ranks,
sih
and more. We'll also
tentang
jump backstage at a few points
musik-musik
to give
gitu.
you a behind-the-scenes look at how different parts of Remix Rumble came together. All right, let's jump right into the bands.
Band.
And by bands, I mean traits.
Oh, thread-nya di sini sebutannya threads-nya, nama lainnya band lah gitu. Karena kan
In Remix Rumble,
konsepnya
you're the DJ,
ini
and the
tentang
board is your
musik.
turntable. By combining different traits, you'll create a medley of beats and genres.
Ada
Let's start
genrenya.
with familiar chart toppers, beginning with
Nah, ini apa ya? Skin LoL ya dipakai terus ya emang kalau tiap ganti-ganti set biasanya. Tapi kemarin set 9 sih 9.5 itu kayaknya skin defaultnya gitu yang biasa. Kalau ini KDA salah satunya ya. Itu sih bahannya Riot sih banyak banget sih buat TFT sih memang.
pop stars, KDA.
Dari League
Get
juga.
the entire
LoL.
lobby bumping with KDA and their most dedicated superfans. Position them just so, and you'll find yourself at the performance of a lifetime with
Ada
incredible choreography
bonus statnya
and a
kalau
bunch
ditaruh di garis-garisnya tadi
of
kelihatan.
bonus stats. Okay, let's make like a Kali and hop over to the next band. True Damage and
Udah
Pentakill are also
Pentakill, skinnya LoL
in
juga.
the mix, and both stay true to their
Eko
names.
Yorick ya kayaknya
True
itu.
Damage grants extra attack speed.
Oh, kalau True Damage attack speed.
Wait, that can't be right.
Kalau KDA tadi bonus stat.
Right? This is more like it. True Damage members are all about style and will gain a unique bling bonus that'll power them up as you itemize them.
Dia kayaknya True Damage harus
And will gain a unique bling bonus
dipasangin barang deh.
that'll power them up.
Ini kan udah semuanya dikasih
As you
barang kayak
itemize
ada
them.
efeknya gitu.
Oh, and before you ask, Akali will be able to be played in KDA or True
Tapi
Damage.
Akali bisa
Her trait
main
will change
di KDA, bisa True Damage.
based on whichever band is
Oh, thread-nya nanti berubah, tapi berdasarkan thread yang lagi trending kalau di sini sih maksudnya. Tapi
trending
nanti
at the
lihat.
time. All right, metalheads, Pentakill's up next. Pentakill members
Pentakill.
have damage reduction
Dan Pentakill ada damage reduction-nya, ngurangin
and
damage,
bonus damage,
bonus damage yang nambah sesuai dengan
that
kill
increases
mereka.
as they score kills. And if your team manages to get a pentakill, then their bonuses will increase
Kalau dapat Pentakill, bonusnya bakalan naik lagi.
again. Just be
Tambah
careful
lagi.
in Yorick's mosh pit.
Wah, ini salah satu champion sih yang aku pakai kalau di LoL. Yorick. Kayaknya yang Summon
Then
deh,
there's
Summon Ghoul.
Heartsteel, fresh off their debut
Ini apa?
and
Heartsteel.
already making their mark on the convergence. These
Yone.
guys are ready
Dan
to bring the energy and do
Kayaknya Kain kan ya.
whatever it takes
Set.
for their fans. They
Siapa
may
ya?
have started out underground, but they're certainly able to take you to the top of the charts and the lobby if you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper remix rumble if you
Tadi
can, but
apa
they're
sih?
certainly able it takes for their fans. These guys are ready to bring the energy, but they're certainly able to take you to the top of the charts and the lobby if you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper remix rumble with only 4 bands. We also have some all-new groups entering the Convergence. With original TFT looks, Lulu and Ziggs make
ada Lulu sama Zig juga threadnya.
up the jittery, ridiculous, hyperpop duo Glitter Bomb. Speaking of original TFT skins, Remix Rumble has plenty. There's a whole
skinnya bagus-bagus sih.
new class, super fans, who show off their fandom with style. The trait pumps up your headliner, more on that later, who show off their fandom with style. The trait
Super
pumps up your headliner, more on that later, by turning one or more of their items into radiant
Oh, bisa jadi radiant item nih.
items.
Kayaknya tergantung threadnya tadi.
My personal favorite new look is Bard,
Ini
who has
Bar.
joined the jazz trio Free Flow.
Ya,
He and his
jazz
meets are looking as
genrenya.
smooth as they sound. Before I get into the mechanics, let's head backstage to learn more about how we made some of these traits with Alex Cole and one of our lesser-known devs.
Ini apa?
We knew set 10 was going to be our big music set.
Oh, ini.
So when we think back,
Memang set 10 nih ditujukan buat
kind of like what the
musik.
steps were, we knew we were going to have this big music moment. We were celebrating 10 sets of
buat
TFT,
mereka ngebuat
which was going
proses
to be huge.
pembuatannya kayaknya.
I mean, really, we just kind of leaned right in and we were like, cool, we know we're going to.
Ini salah satu apa ya? Nih direkturnya kan Mordok. Jadi kalau kalian mau nonton sih, dia juga ada YouTube channelnya gitu. Bagus sih buat sekalian. Dia soalnya developer yang juga betul-betul mainkan gamenya gitu loh. Jadi feedbacknya tuh langsung gitu. Jadi enaknya sih TFT di situ sih. Karena si developernya sendiri juga main gamenya. Jadi feedbacknya langsung diterima gitu kan dari orang-orang. Terus video-videonya juga edukatif gitu loh. Aku banyak belajar juga sih ngelihat dia main kayak gitu.
Going to do all of these cool origins,
Mordok
and then we
namanya,
go through the
Mordok.
process of
YouTube
what skin lines do we have
channelnya.
available that we can tie those to. And luckily, we had a ton of cool and groovy skin lines, and we obviously played with them a little bit with like
Skin-skinnya.
Space Group becoming
Wow sih,
disco and some
banyak
stuff
sih.
like that.
Jadi
But
enak aja.
yeah, we were pretty quick to just turn right in and be like, oh wow, we have tons of things to pull from, which is really exciting.
So I'm pretty excited about Heartsteel. The economy
Heartsteel.
trade is always a fan favorite of
Oh, Hardstyle ini ekonomi trade. Jadi yang biasanya kayak kalau set sebelumnya ini kan kayak pit lover ya.
ours, but we've had this problem for a long time where the economy trait is you get it at 2-1 or you don't really play it.
ini.
And so this time we took a very
Siapa
clear
sih?
goal of how do
ini
you
apa,
play it if you
Lios?
don't hit it at 2-1. And so what you can do is you can play it at any
Sena,
point in the game,
Yone.
and the more you've got, the bigger the payout. You try to lose by just a little bit, but even if you win, you're still going to be getting those fan, and then it's going to cash out after a few turns.
Kayaknya dia mau dibuat ekonomi trade-nya nih nggak harus dari awal gitu. Kalau Piltover kan biasanya main di awal, lose streak, nanti sudah darah sedikit, terus harus menang gitu, terus dapat bayarannya. Kayaknya kalau ini tuh mau dibuat, kalau dia bilang sih,
And so you can even pivot into it in the late game, and I
apa ya, di pertengahan juga bisa, nggak harus dari awal banget, nggak harus ronde 21 gitu.
think that's going to be a real skill expressive part of the game, is that ability to
Wah,
go,
gila
okay, I'm
sih.
in a position
Ini
where I
yang
can play
bagusnya
Heartsteel
efek-
for a
efek.
few turns and then
Iya
get
loh.
my reward and then
Memang.
pivot back. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of really cool skill expressive moments.
Hardstyle nih buat
My favorite
ekonomi
trait this set is definitely the country trait,
Ini apa? Country trade.
which features our Desperado band. Historically in TFT, we've done a lot of really cool things with summon traits. We did Baron this
Oh, ini kayaknya summon deh.
last set. We did Innovator in set 6. I'm really excited for Country to join those ranks. So with Country, we have something called the Midnight Horse, which is Hecarim. And when your champions sort of get
Ini Hekarim.
lower or lose
juga.
health, Hecarim will ride in and save the day.
Oh, lihat dia kan di sini. Hekarimnya kan di sini. Ya sama kayak Galio sih yang set-set sebelumnya. Kayak kalau sudah low, teman-temannya nanti dia datang menyelamatkan.
And sort of get lower or lose health, Hecarim will ride in and save the
Nah,
day.
save the
So
day.
operating a little bit like Galio from set 4,
Nah,
if
ini
players
kan
remember that
kayak
one.
kali.
So I think the challenges with these two is we kept trying to find the identity for each of them, and they ended up being really intertwined with each other. So there was a day where myself, Whitrock, the set lead, and Mort literally sat down and mapped out the entire set on a whiteboard. I don't remember who it was, but one of us was just like, oh, we don't have a summon trait.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of played around with that. And on the flip side, we were also playing around with like, is it risky to have our econ trait be one of the main verticals? Like, is that something we want to do or try? Which is really exciting. We ended up going with it, kind of seeing those two traits in particular, like kind of kept going back and forth and changing shape with each other. But we were happy with how it all landed. Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear on this team that probably the biggest Ari stan around. So KDA being in the set is a huge, exciting moment for me.
KDA sih paling terkenal sih kalau dibilang setnya, skinnya.
When deciding which mechanics to include in Remix Rumble, we wanted to bring you a greatest hits playlist from past sets,
Yang punya ide setnya
with
dia.
Runeterra Reforged. Portals are making a comeback.
Oh, Portal.
They'll
Portal di set 9 dipertahanin di sini.
have a bit less
Set 10.
impact than some of the wilder ones from last set. We can do without you, Stillwater Hold, but they're sure to continue
Soalnya ini yang paling jarang diambil sih, kalau orang nggak tertarik
creating
sama
memorable
Portal ini.
moments. We won't be bringing back
efeknya tuh apa?
Legends for Remix
Oh, tapi mereka nggak pakai Legend di set 10 ini.
We learned a lot from seeing how Legends could influence the meta and
Iya
individual
sih. Soalnya kayak sekarang aja metanya tuh ya Urf gitu loh. Yang paling banyak buat menang gitu yang meta ya
enjoyment
Urf.
of the set. So we feel like there's
Emang
more
agak susah
exploration and
ngebalancingnya gitu.
experimentation to be done in this space before we potentially revisit it, but we'll keep you updated
Mungkin
along the way.
nanti set-set ke depan katanya bisa
Back to
kembali.
what we are bringing back. One of TFT's most beloved mechanics is returning in an
Apa nih yang
updated
kembali?
way.
Mekanik.
No, not augments, although we will be
Oh, augment?
introducing new augments
Oh, ada. Kayaknya ada.
for Remix Rumble as well. I'm talking about headliners, our
Namanya headliner.
fresh take on the chosen mechanic from Fate.
Oh, Chosen nih mekanik yang ada di set 4 kalau nggak salah.
Headliners are the star of your board.
Tapi di sini disebutnya headliner.
They appear occasionally in shops
Nah, ya kan? Ya kayak gini dia. Kehitung 2
and are
kayaknya
purchased
harusnya.
at 2-star.
Thread-nya kalau ada ini.
Headliners have
Udah langsung B2 gitu.
tons of immediate power, and they give you +1 to
Nah, ini kan +1 dia. Jadi dia terhitung 2 gitu satu unit itu. Maksudnya thread-nya.
one of their traits. But here's where headliners diverge from chosen.
Oh, ini perbedaannya tapi sama
Each
Chosen.
one will have a specific headliner effect that empowers them in a way that only a true fan would appreciate.
Ada efeknya.
Take Bard from the Jazz Trio, who improvises a few notes to either heal an ally or deal a bit of damage. When Bard is your headliner, every 10 casts will generate a
Kayaknya ada
meat that
efek-efeknya lah
allows him
pokoknya.
to play
Kayak kalau headliner Bard ada efeknya sendiri. Kalau headliner apa ada
one
efeknya
extra
sendiri.
note on his
gitu.
first cast of combat.
Kayaknya sih gitu.
Bard is the type of headliner that will scale into the end,
Oh, kalau Bard nih bisa nge-scaling sampai end game.
whether that
katanya.
scale is major or minor, depends on how early you can get it. Some headliners will be difficult
Nah, ini nih championku sekali.
to find end game carries. Take Yorick,
Yorick.
a legendary unit who temporarily summons
Waduh,
ghouls.
gila.
When
Saman-saman
this
terus.
headbanger is your
Ini pasti
headliner, the ghouls will be
meta
bigger
pasti
and
nih.
deal more damage.
Pasti banyak yang pakai
And
nih
one
di
more
awal-awal.
thing about our mechanics. All of them will be harmonizing together. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. All right, let's check back in with Alex and Mort to talk more about
Mekaniknya
headliners.
yang kembali. Headliner.
So early on, when we were exploring the different mechanics, we knew we were doing a music theme, and so we
tema
kind of had this
musik.
image where it's like, okay, the band is all on there together, but what is it that makes
Apa
it
yang buat dia
special? How can we
spesial?
twist it? And we kept coming back to it's like, well, who's singing at the moment? Who's the star of the show, if you will? And that kind of led us to a system we call headliner, which was like, okay, you're going to pick who your headliner is.
Oh gitu, kayaknya dia berfokus sama headlinernya gitu, siapa kayak carry utamanya gitu. Jadi kita harus milih headliner kita.
And we kept coming up with versions that were slightly different than
Kayaknya
Chosen,
board
but
kita
had a lot of
tuh
the same advantages.
berputar di antara
Chosen was
si
one of our first big mechanics. It
headliner
wasn't just
inilah.
like galaxies or a
Kita
variation.
ngebuild
And it was something that allowed
unitnya
every champion to
berdasarkan
kind of be the
headliner yang
centerpiece,
kita
right?
dapat
Like
gitu.
you would tell stories of, oh, this was the game I got Silas chosen. I
Ya
did
kalau dulu sih kayak gitu
this
juga
thing,
sih.
or this was the game I got Kennen chosen. But what was interesting is as we were kind of researching it, we realized that was before a lot of these other mechanics, right?
Ini lumayan
Augments hadn't been
sukses sih
around.
kalau yang
And
dulu
so a
tuh.
lot of the burden of the
Chosen tuh.
system has
Aku main juga
changed.
soalnya
And so
setnya
as we
gitu.
were looking
Set
at this
4
and kind of
kalau
seeing all
nggak
the pieces come together, it felt like kind of a greatest hits of TFT, which once we realized
salah
that,
satu
that was
yang
such a
berhasil
great
gitu.
opportunity to bring it all together. And so that's when we kind of anchored on Headliner being sort of the upgraded Chosen. You know, we've got Radiant items,
Ada Radiant item,
augments, portals,
augment.
and it really does sort
Oh.
of feel like 10 sets worth of TFT knowledge all coming together to make this
Nggak
really
tahu siapa
awesome
yang
set.
dipertahankan, apa yang enggak.
I think with
Tapi yang just
the
portal,
headliner mechanic,
iya,
players will be most
legenda.
excited about the champ fantasies that it unlocks. So whether you are a player that
Waduh, ada Ilau ini, ada tentakel gini Ilau, soalnya Ilau championku juga di luar.
really loves re-rolling those 1 or
Gila
2 costs,
efeknya.
or you're a
HP nggak
player that
panas
likes those
nih.
4 cost carry fantasies, Headliner allows you to do any direction you want every game, and unlocks a lot of variation, which is exciting. These are things that we never predict coming in. Like, what is the built different comp of this set? Like, what are the combinations that we during production have
Ya,
no
itu.
idea are coming,
Set
that we
10
see
milih
videos of
headliner
at 2
gitu.
a.m. From China, and we're like, wow, that's amazing! I can't believe they came up with this idea.
Those cool combinations.
Lihat nah, kain kos 5. Ini
To
set,
keep you
set
coming
yang berapa?
back
Bukan yang ini.
and have an exciting
Nggak tahu.
payoff, I think is always what we're looking for when we're making new sets.
Kos
It's like,
5.
what is the cool next thing to try out?
Atau lah itu yang lama atau yang baru nanti. Musik.
Hey everyone, I'm Cole Hicks, lead composer of Remix Rumble, and I'm here to talk about the heart of this set, the music. In Remix Rumble, each trait brings new sounds to your
Di set 10 ini setiap thread dia tuh
board.
ada efek suaranya gitu. Jadi kayak mungkin kalau arena yang kemarin yang 9 yang dari TFT Pass kan yang itu Build Water kan ada tema, ada lagunya gitu. Kayaknya kalau ini tuh tergantung threadnya nanti berubah suaranya
While you're
sih.
building your team, you're building your track.
Iya,
Remix
kayaknya gitu.
Rumble was an all-hands-on-deck moment for our team. Many different composers and collaborators created original music for each origin trait and made it possible for all of it to meld together in any combination based on whichever units you have out on your board. To make genres like metal sound seamless with, say, jazz or pop, we wrote 2 main songs. Through a mix of layers that contain
Ada 2
drums,
lagu
chords, and
utama.
melodies, your track will be built alongside your team.
Kan tergantung thread apa yang aktif, nanti 2 lagu utama itu kayaknya tergantung threadnya jadi berubah gitu lagunya.
And as the game progresses, your track will too. Starting off one way during the
Kok jelek banget tuh kayak sport tuh.
preparation phase and building up to a more complex
Ini Evelyn, ini
chorus for the
dia.
battle. Let me show you an example of how all this will look
Kayaknya
and
yang
sound.
rock itu.
Starting with our disco band, the Disco Knots.
Disco Knots.
Their trait gives you a placeable disco ball
Wah,
that will hit
Disco
heal
Knots
your
ada disco ball, apa ya? Bola disco yang bisa nge-heal dan ngasih attack speed.
allies and grant them attack speed. As you get later into the game, you can add in more disco knots to strengthen the trait. Then you could add in a destructive splash of pentakill
Tambah disco Knots terus
Or
ditambah
a killer
pentakill.
guitar solo. So
Terus nanti ada ya itu beda kan disco Knots ininya beda, nadanya mungkin beda, lagunya beda, suaranya beda, ditambah pentakill nanti beda lagi
pouring
gitu.
over it all. Now let's talk a bit about the tracks we wrote. For groups like KDA and Pentakill that already exist in the League IP, we tried to capture their instrumental essence with some
Menarik sih,
TFT
tapi.
twists. And we brought in new genres like 8-bit and country, but more on those later. We also made sure powerful units like Jin got their moment in the spotlight. For Maestro, Jin's legendary
Jin.
trait we mixed in a Paganini-esque violin solo to create a modern
Ada skinning ya,
interpretation
aku udah
of
tahu
classical
kalau ada
music,
skinning kayak gini.
fit for the virtuoso himself.
Klasikal musik.
This sound
Iya,
was the
temanya Jin kan
perfect
gitu.
fit for a trait that deals extra damage to tactician health
Oh, ada extra
and a
damage.
champion whose ability builds up in a cadenza of damage. By putting out different units on your board, you'll create a symphony of controlled chaos. Try
Membuat
combining
simfoni.
the relentless drums of
Coba digabungkan
Pentakill with our
Pentakill
harpsichord-heavy emo band, Big
tambah
Set.
ini apa ini Big Set.
Or maybe as your comp changes,
Suaranya berubah
you'll create
pokoknya.
music that features the bass of true damage alongside
Gila.
the groovy horn
Niat sih.
section of disco knocks.
Ada konsep
It's
sih, bagusnya ada
absolutely
konsep.
ridiculous, and that's just TFT. All right, let's head backstage with the team for a quick recording session.
Kalau niat.
That's great, man.
Inilah kenapa mungkin ya TFT umurnya paling panjang di antara contoh.
I think one of the
Commander
challenges of
Lord. Udah
working
nggak ada
on this
update
set
kan, masih ada
is
sih
the
bisa main,
multiple
cuma update-nya udah
genres and
nggak ada,
how
udah
they're
dari
going to
sama
be remixed
developernya.
into one
Mungkin yang
another.
bedakan tuh ya kayak gini.
There are a total of, I believe,
Oh ya sama ini juga setnya mulai set 10 ini dia ganti set tiap 4 bulan. Kalau sebelumnya dulu tuh 6 bulan ya kan. Terus ada mid setnya, set pertengahan. Jadi kayak 3 bulan, kan 6 bulan. 3 bulan pertama tuh ada set pertengahan, baru set terakhirnya gitu, ada patchnya lagi. Kalau yang sekarang ini jadi setahun itu berarti bisa 3 kali ganti set gitu. Kalau sebelumnya kan 2 kali aja, kalau sekarang 3 kali. Nggak ada set pertengahan, nggak ada. Kalau kemarin kan masih ada set 9.5 gitu.
10 to 12 genres. Some of
Ada
them
10 sampai 12 genre.
more bespoke than others because it's based on our virtual band. But all of this are being done by 7 composers
Yang susah sih
together. So this is the
pertahankan,
biggest collaboration within Riot
nyari
composers
ide-ide
that we
baru
have
sih.
done for Teamfight
Soalnya
Tactics.
juga main apa Magic Chess gitu. Ya udah mythic, udah ya berapa ratus bintang apa segala ya. Tapi threadnya itu aja. Ya kemarin ada update juga kalau nggak salah bisa nge-ban ya. Nge-ban yang pilih kayak legendnya gitu. Cuman ya kurang aja sih karena threadnya lama banget gantinya.
Authenticity is both a goal and a challenge. Because we're
Sama mekaniknya nggak sebanyak
doing so many different
TFT
genres,
gitu.
and
Sekarang
some
lihat
of them
sih,
have a fair
TFT
amount of
mekaniknya makin
crossover as
banyak.
far as types of sounds and things that we're using. For example, we're doing a DJ Sona genre, but we also have a straight like EDM genre. And so you almost have to really lean into the thing that's done versus that players are
Out in a way that
Ini
without
kayak
getting it confused, they both
ngejelasin
use
tentang-
bass players right away.
KDA is another example.
Difference. They both use
Oh.
drums. They both use bass. How they're doing this punk rock thing without getting it confused with Pentakill, right? A metal band. They both use guitars. They both use drums. They both
Kayaknya
use
nih maksudnya,
bass.
jadi
How
tiap
are
kita
those genres
nge-scout,
being executed
ngeliat
differently and is able
board
to be recognized
musuh
by our
lain
players
gitu kan.
right away?
KDA is another
kita
example.
udah bisa tahu
of
oh dia
like
main ini,
what-
jadi kayak
it's not just
nggak
what are
perlu
the
ngeliat
things
thread
that
yang
make it sound
sebelah
like KDA.
sini tuh, yang biasanya di
It's
sebelah
what are
kiri
the things
itu.
that make it sound like KDA if just the drums are playing or if just
Jadi
the
kayak kita
chords
bisa
are playing.
mengenalin langsung dari lagunya, dari suaranya gitu. Kayaknya sih yang mereka mau
One of
buat
the
kayak gitu.
cool things about this set is that it is supposed to be a bit crazy sometimes. So we were able to sort of like lean into it being like, oh, that sounds a bit silly, but
yeah,
it's
and some
menarik.
surprising things came
Yeah.
out that were really cool. Like, for example, I think we discovered that saxophone solo over Heartsteel is very cool. We have also discovered that a violin solo on top of Jason's EDM track is
Ini
very cool.
gabungan
very
kombinasi
cool. And we would have never
kombinasi.
made those choices as composers.
Normally,
normally
right.
it's okay to lean into the silliness sometimes because it is a fun idea and it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Whereas other genres obviously will work in a way where you're like, oh, that's like I would put that on my playlist and listen to it.
Yeah. For us, the collaboration is a little chaotic, and I think that's also us embracing that energy of like, we're not entirely sure if this is gonna work, and we're just kind of, you know, like riding with the flow and
Kalau bagus
write
saya
what we
sih
believe
lagunya
in,
sih
and then
ya
we come together and let's hear how
aman
this
aja
is
sih,
gonna
orang
go.
suka aja sih paling.
TFT is the space where as a composer, I get to play around the most and, you know, basically try whatever fun ideas I might have. The team is very open to experimentation. So from that perspective, even though it is a fair amount different than anything we've done in TFT before, I think TFT is the perfect place to do it and that kinds of fun ideas.
100%.
Udah. Main lama sih musiknya ya. Tadi. Ini Arena sama
Hi everyone,
Tactician.
I'm Ananda Gupta, Design Director on TFT. Today, I'm here to give an update on cosmetics.
Kosmetik,
And then
kosmetiknya
I'll
aja
talk
sih.
about Ranked,
Oh,
as well as a
sama
much
Ranked.
anticipated release for many of our players, the Asia Pacific mobile launch.
Nah ini saya APAC lah. Kalau Seret suka sebutnya APAC, APAC.
We're thrilled to bring more high-quality personalization that will be released throughout the start of Remix Rumble. Ahead of that, we want to give you a sneak peek and equip you with an understanding of the release schedule, both to prepare collectors as well as inform folks who want to nab their favorite. Chibi Set and Chibi Heartsteel Set have entered the building,
Chibi
and
Set.
they're looking to pull off a
Ini masalahnya mahal guys. Chibi Setnya sih bukan mahal juga, cuman buat upgrade-nya itu yang
ice straight to the
agak-
top of the lobby.
agak
Chibi
mahal.
Heartsteel Set moves fast and will depart the
Itu buat kolektor sih
treasure
makanya
realms after
katanya
the
dia
first
tadi.
2 weeks of Remix Rumble.
Oh, 2 minggu awal.
And if you want
Ini.
more, the KDA Arena is definitely more.
Terus
Drop your comp smack dab in the middle of a KDA
arenanya
show
ada
and take top 4
KDA.
or bottom 4. It won't matter with an arena this stunning. After 2 weeks, Chibi KDA Akali will screech
Setelah 2 minggu,
onto the scene.
KDA kali.
Then, the moment I've been waiting for, KDA Kaisa will hit the convergence
Kaisa.
3 weeks into the set. She and KDA Akali will be available through Treasure Realms that will only last until our next event. Each drop will provide high-value content, from chibis to mythic little legends, and even a chance to hit a
Oh,
random
bisa dapat juga sih chibi yang lain
chibi
katanya.
variant, like Dragonmancer Ash or Star
Gacanya
Guardian
itu loh,
Lux.
tapi.
But the biggest high roll of those collector capsules is KDA Kaisa.
Oh, tapi yang paling chance paling besar tuh buat dapatin ya KDA Kaisa.
Kaisa is the centerpiece for players looking to flaunt that extra special drop. But prestige treasure realms are full of high-value
lumayan.
offerings from past sets. So, whether you're a collector looking to pick up something you missed, or a little legend enthusiast just getting
Jadi
your
bisa
first
dapat
chibi,
chibi-chibi
no matter what
mungkin
you
yang
hit, it's bound
sebelumnya
to hit hard.
kelewatan.
After
Wah, aku
Remix
sih
Rumble
maunya Z ya.
ships, we've got even more work
Tapi
ahead
ya
of
itu
us.
gacha.
We know players want more say in what they purchase, and we're working towards exactly that in a system we're internally calling the Seasonal Store. We're not quite ready to go into the finer details yet, but I am ready to get into Remix Rumble's pass. Remix Rumble
ini Remix
marks our
Rumble Pass.
transition to 3 sets a year, and we're updating our pass structure to reflect that. We'll still have 2 passes
Kayak Battle Pass gitu kalau Dota.
in every set. But since sets now last 4 months,
Nah kan kesetnya sekarang 4
each
bulan
pass will be
aja.
2 months long.
Jadi ada 2 Battle Pass. Battle Pass-nya itu selama 2 bulan aja
So, we're
masing-masing.
redistributing rewards and accelerating pass progression to make all the rewards easier to obtain.
Oh, supaya lebih gampang naikin level
Not every
Battle
pass will look the same. Each Pass Plus will have different high-value rewards. For example, you'll see our new Neon Stage Arena in Remix Rumble's first pass, and in the Rumble's second half,
Kita di
Sugar Cone.
arena, ini Poro. Ya elah Poronya cuma dimodif dikit
And
dah
just
tuh.
as our pass is changing to accommodate 3 sets a year, our ranked season is also changing.
Or sistem ranknya juga berubah. Apa yang berubah?
Like League of Legends, we're adding Emerald tier to
Cuma
our
nambah
ranked
emerald
ladder. It'll
aja.
add
Kayaknya LoL Mobile kan ada juga
more
gitu,
climbing room,
emerald ya.
while also recognizing the skill progression that players show between Platinum and Diamond. This comes at the perfect
Ya,
time
Emerald tuh setelah Platinum. Jadi kayaknya
as we
dia
transition
sampai ke Diamond
to
jadi
creating
lebih
3 sets a
lama ya.
year and 3 ranked seasons to go with them. Without mid sets, there's no soft reset of your rank throughout the season, so you'll have more time to track your progress on the expanded ladder, prove your skill, and get new Emerald rewards. We're not looking to make the climb harder.
Diamond,
Emerald
Master.
and a longer
Ini kau juga lagi coba ke Master sih, cuman ya kalau sebentar lagi rilis yang set 10 kayaknya aku main PBE buat nyobain set 10 deh. Kayaknya jadi malas nge-push rank sampai Master.
season should mean a smoother, more consistent climb overall. We know TFT is a more chaotic game than League, and we don't want to punish or reward you too much for performance outliers. You can play great and still low roll in TFT, and our ranked system should and will reflect that.
Udah
Okay,
selesai.
before
Nah,
you get too
mobile.
excited and queue up for ranked, let's chat mobile. The launch of Remix Rumble
Ini yang aku itu pengen tunggu sih
in
mobile
late
sih
November will be
sebenarnya.
the first time
Karena apa? Supaya find match-nya tuh lebih cepat
TFT
aja
is
sih.
available on mobile in APAC regions. And we're shipping a number
Sama
of
bisa main di mana
improvements
aja
along
kan.
with this launch that will impact the entire world. But first, I want to thank our APAC players for their patience.
Iya.
We've been working towards
Iya, bro,
bringing
lama
mobile to you
banget
since we launched
rilisnya.
it during Galaxies. And
Udah
we
dari
know that you've
Galaxy
awaited
loh.
its arrival ever
Set
since.
Galaxy itu.
In preparation for this
Kita
launch,
yang
our
terakhir
tools and
kayaknya.
engine team has been hard at work making mobile usability, stability, and performance
Semoga ya sih
improvements.
performance-nya
And
bagus.
for the tablet players out there, one of these
Oh sama
improvements is
buat
tablet
tablet
support.
yang main di tablet
Come
juga.
Remix Rumble,
Tab-
you can say goodbye to the black bars and wonky scaling when playing on tablet. And
Tapi
hello
itu sih
to
yang
a
aku takutkan
smoother,
tuh
prettier,
ya karena banyak
tablet-tailored
musik apa segala
experience.
efeknya
We've
di
seen a
HP.
ton of anticipation for
Jadi,
TFT Mobile in APAC and tablet
performance-nya tuh
support across the world. And we can't wait to kick it all
pertanyakan
off
sih,
with
Mas.
Remix Rumble. So, APAC players, make sure to pre-register for our launch as we'll be offering
Sudah
multiple
bro, sudah kita semua
pre-registration milestone rewards.
pre-register.
From treasure tokens to a new little legend, Boba T-River Sprite.
Tactician-nya boba coba.
And if you're not in APAC, don't worry, this little Sprite will eventually be available to everyone.
Was that the last boba?
Yang boba juga deh.
Okay. Hey everyone, Sherman back to talk about all things TFT
ini
esports.
cuma kayaknya e-sport sama apa turnamen.
It's been awesome to
Vegas
see the
nanti.
growth of TFT esports over the last few sets. We've seen 3 sets of steady viewer growth for set championships, and with the Runeterra Reforged Championship, we're hoping to make it 4.
Ya sudah ada 3
We're about
championship.
5 weeks out from our first global LAN event, the TFT Vegas Open. It'll be from December 8th through the 10th, with 512 competitors from around the world as they take over the MGM Grand. I first want to say that we were blown away by how quickly competitor passes sold out back in September. And we can't wait to see you battle it out there.
Kayaknya
The event
itu
happens
aja deh.
early in Remix Rumble,
Yang
testing
pentingnya.
players' ability to adapt, innovate, and lead the meta. This is a moment where players from anywhere can step into the spotlight and become IRL headliners. The player that comes out on top will walk away with $100,000,
Oke, ya berarti
a trophy,
yang di
and most
Vegas
importantly,
nanti ya
the TFT
set 10
Vegas
ya.
Open title. And even if you
Iya,
don't
orang
get first, the
waktu
128 players who make it to day
lumayan
2
sih
will
buat,
win a piece of
buat
the
belajarnya.
$300,000 prize
Buat
pool.
belajar setnya ya
And all
dari tanggal
512 players who
8
participate in the
PBI,
event
server
will get a unique
PBI
emote based on how far they make
sampai
it
ya
into the
Desember
tournament.
itu.
But don't worry, the Vegas Open won't be a replacement for a championship. Now that we've switched over to 3 sets a year, we're adjusting to have a competitive season for each one.
Udah sih kayaknya.
So rest assured there will be a Remix Rumble Championship at the end of the set. It'll be the culmination of Remix Rumble, so we have high expectations for the comps players will bring to the finals now that they've had a chance to master the set. For those of you competing in Vegas, PvE goes live the second week of November.
Ya kan,
So get out there
PvE-nya.
and start crafting your go-to comps. As for everyone else, we're super
Kayaknya aku bakalan
excited
main
for our
PvE
first
sih
ever
tanggal-
LAN event, and we hope to
tanggal
see you all
7
there,
ya.
either in person or digitally.
Tanggal 6.
All right, thanks so much for
Tanggal
watching.
8
Good luck and have
pagi,
fun out
guys.
there.
Jangan lupa.
Till next time.
Kalau mau nyoba duluan, jadi kayak beta tester kan Kirito. Nah bisa tuh tanggal 8